there, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations, and we are doing something fun today. I've had some people request some videos about doing jean jackets. So I'm actually, over the space of 2 videos, going to show you 2 different methods. One, we're just going to paint. Today, we're going to decoupage. And I've had great success with doing decoupage on fabrics and being able to wash them. Now, it does not mean that I want to do this directly on a pair of jeans that I'm going to wear once, wash, wear once, wash. So you don't want to do them on items that you're going to want to wash constantly. But it doesn't mean that you cannot wash them and have them turn out great. So I thrifted this little jean jacket and we are going to decoupage some napkins onto it. But what we want to do is we want to give it a good background, meaning that if I decoupage this thin napkin onto just the blue, it's going to disappear. I'm not going to see it. So I am going to want to paint the surface that I'm decoupaging onto it white. So what I've had great success with is Podge for fabric. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to use it as a decoupage medium, but we're also going to right now add it to our white paint so that this will, well, let me not squish it out and spatter all over my jacket. But so this will then help that paint adhere to the fabric. Now, I can paint fabric with fusion paint, no problem. And this has gotten a bit thick, so I'm gonna add my paint to it slowly. But you can paint your fabric with fusion, no problem, and then seal it, like for couches and things like that. But you're not tossing them in the washing machine every day. Jean jackets, I'm assuming you're not tossing in every day either. So just know it's not going to hold up if you are, oh, this is probably sealed over the top a little bit here. So it's not going to hold up if you are, washing it constantly either. So let's just be real about this. Are you going to be able to wash it? Yes. Should you be washing it every day? No. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to, one, I want to thin out my paint a little bit. I definitely want to thin out the Mod Podge, and I just want to make sure it's a nice smooth consistency. So I'm going to keep adding some white paint to this until it's ready to go. And then I'll show you as we move in and we start getting this ready. All right, I have my mixture made up and you can see it's nice and smooth. It's fairly thick, which is, partly the regular consistency of the fusion paint. This is casement. Now what I'm thinking is that I want to do this center panel on the back and then the little pockets so that they'll show on the front. So really what I'm looking at doing now is just starting to paint my fabric white. And ultimately I'm going to want this to dry overnight before I start decoupaging on it. Now I don't need it to be perfectly smooth or even, I should say, because I am going to be decoupaging over it. But what I'm doing is I'm giving a better background for my decoupage to show up on. And I've got some paper underneath so that I'm just debating taking it out to the lip of the seam that's there, so that it goes out over that ridge. And that's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just painting fabric now and putting it off to the side to dry. our paint has had overnight to dry, and you don't necessarily have to wait overnight, you just need to wait for it to be dry. But the first thing that I want to do is you're going to find it feels really kind of crunchy and rough. So just take a piece of sandpaper, this is 220 grit, and you're just going to lightly drag it down over the surface. And then just take a rag and wipe any of that residual dust. Now this is going to feel a lot smoother, it's not as crunchy, it's better texture, and so we're not building up, we're taking off those extra layers. And this is exactly what you would do if you were painting fabric chairs or furniture. You have to sand between your paint coats. Right? Not doing that is going to create a really unpleasant texture. It's going to be really crunchy, and you're not going to have the paint sitting down into, you know, subsequent coats are going to be sitting on top of all that excess. So this becomes our decoupage surface. So, dusty hands. First thing that we want to do is separate our napkin. Most napkins nowadays are 3-ply, but sometimes they're only 2-ply, and I get people that ask me, how can you tell? So if you pull off a layer, all right, so we've removed one sheet. You see how it still looks very white? That means that there's another piece there. Yeah, so look at how that backing looks now. You can see that pattern through it. That means that we're down to that single ply. And you just want to make sure that you've gone through all of your plies, so you're down to the last one before you start doing your decoupage. To decoupage for this, we are again going to be using the fabric Mod Podge. I just got this off of Amazon. You could get it. Some fabric stores carry it because it's fabric. You know, it's for fabric, but up to you. Now mine is super thick. This is not going, I had a spoon. It's not super thin to begin with, but I just find it's way thicker than I need, especially when it comes to doing the decoupage. So rather than using way too much, I thin mine out to make my life easier. So I just add water. I don't do it into here because if I'm not using like distilled water, then I'm adding impurities, and whatever I don't use right away is going to go bad. So instead, I like to take it out separately and mix it up. Now, let's say I mix up too much of this. What I do have is, you know, the white paint mixed with this medium? I put the extra into a jar. Any of this that I don't use, I will add to this as well, so that I have that already. I'm going to be doing another project with I'm just looking for something to scoop this off of here rather than using my finger for a change. But because I know I'm going to be doing some more painting on fabric, I've just moved it over into another jar, and I keep it there instead. So I'm just going to, that just spattered all over. So I'm just going to keep mixing this until I get it a smoother consistency, but you can see that I've thinned it down, and that's really what I want from this. All right, and we are just going to now apply this on and decoupage as we would any other surface. So because I was very particular about my lines here, I want to maintain that. But I want to get my decoupage medium on my surface so that I can apply my napkin. Now I don't need tons of this, but I do need it to still be kind of wettish or damp to apply it. If I needed, if it dried out or it didn't all adhere, then I would let it dry totally and then go over it with my iron. And I may still do that just in case, like before I seal it, just in case I haven't gotten all of the wrinkles out. So just because you apply this wet doesn't mean you can't use the iron-on method afterward if you need to. And I get people thinking that they have to do one or the other. And I will sometimes be doing the wet decoupage method and then find that some of my paper is releasing. And so I go back and I use the iron-on method. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with the iron-on method, I have other videos showing you how to do that in case I don't do it today, but we'll see. I never know. Right now I'm reserving it in my back pocket, but I'm just going to apply enough of the medium on here that all of that surface is wet. And you can see that already it has kind of a, because of that paint mixture down there, almost a little bit more like a canvas kind of sound to it as I'm applying the paint, because I'm not applying it down into the fabric now. This decoupage medium, it's sitting on top of the paint that I have added on there. Let me just put that in some water. So now I'm going to take my napkins and I am going to lay them over my surface. I really like this pansy pattern here. And I always pay attention first to the creases that I have. And now I'm actually going to just, it's all kind of wet. I'm just going to tear this now. I just don't want a straight line here on the bottom. And you could have torn it first or tear it as it gets wet. Either way, it works. And then, how much do I need? Quite a bit. Here we go. That's gonna look so cute, isn't it? So we're gonna leave that. You can choose to, let's see if I have my brayer hanging out here. I do. So you could go over it with the brayer if you wanted, just to make sure it's really nicely adhered. And you can see here, because I don't have the decoupage medium up this high with where I added my paper, I'm just going to make sure that that's adhered down. And then we're just good to go. We're going to leave this to dry before I look at removing any of it around the edges. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing over the pockets, put it off to the side to dry, and then we'll see what we can do about removing this once it's dried out, but wait for that part. Now that this is dry enough, it's time to cut away the excess, and I'm just gently taking my box cutter. You could use an X-Acto knife, but just to follow the seams so that it's semi-straight, right? So I'm gonna cut those away. I'm not pressing super hard. I am not cutting through the fabric. There's no worries, but I'm using those seams to kind of help me guide along. You know, some is better than others. But where I have maybe a little piece that I need to add, I can do that at the next step. But so I'm gonna get this cut aside, all cut away, and then I am going to take that same mixture of my fabric Mod Podge with a little bit of water, and I am going to coat all of the rest of it, paying close attention to those edges. So making sure that all of those seams are down and glued in place well, and then we're setting it off to the side to dry. Just a quick little trick. When you're looking at wanting to get all of your edges glued down in, but you don't want your glue to go all over the rest of the jacket. I just use a little index card, and it allows me to really kind of pounce down in, get that napkin sitting down in there nicely, and I don't have to worry about getting my decoupage medium all over the rest of my fabric. And so I just continue to work my way around each of those seams. This has got to get a little stiffer now. And doing the same thing. Now our jacket has had overnight to dry, and you can take a little bit of a look. So, you know, on the front, we end up with the pockets. So we've got a little bit of color here. And then on the back, we've got the bigger section of those pansies. So I think it's pretty cute. You can see that it does bend and crinkle. Is it kind of stiff? Yeah, absolutely. Right? You got a ton of Mod Podge glue on there. Don't expect it to be super soft and as pliable as anything else. It will soften as it washes, but that's not really the goal. That's why it's great to do it on something like a jacket. Now, have I done this on items? I haven't washed this one yet, but have I done this on items and washed it and had it come out? Yes, absolutely. Don't iron over top of this. When it comes to ironing it, you're going to want to put something over it or iron from the back. It still has glue, even once it's been washed. The difference on this is I don't think this is perfect to do on something that you want to wash every time you wear it. It will wear away. It's not part of the fabric. So doing it on something like a jacket that you're only going to intermittently wash, or most people anyway, is great, because then you're going to get it standing up. You're going to have some longevity to it. If you were looking at doing this on, you know, I've done it on dish towels, but dish towels that are more, you know, like a Christmas dish towel where I'm using it once or twice and then it's going away for the year. You know, it's not an everyday dish towel that I'm going to be washing constantly. So, you know, use it more for decorative pieces that you're going to be washing just here and there. You could use this technique on maybe canvas bags to you know, decorate them. And again, we're not washing our bags every day. So bear that in mind. Is it washable? Yes. Does it hold up? Yes. Does it hold up through tons and tons of washings? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I don't want to mislead you about this. It's not something that you could wear once and wash, and have it be something that you're wearing every week. Not going to make it, not going to last very long. But if it's something that, you know, you wear a bunch of times and you're only washing here and there, you get a lot more life out of it. So just choose the projects accordingly. But definitely love the look. You can obviously switch this up by what napkins you're using, where you're applying them. You can make it completely your own. But definitely a super cute technique. Hope you give it a try. Definitely looking to hear what you think about this one, and looking forward to seeing you on the next. Until then, take care.